Have you ever noticed that the more desperately you chase something, the further it moves away from you? You push harder, work longer, and try everything in your power to control outcomes, yet somehow the things you desire remain just out of reach. It's exhausting, isn't it? You're not alone in feeling this frustration, this overwhelming sense of running endlessly toward goals that seem to evade you at every turn. Why is it that when you finally stop pushing so hard, when you genuinely let go and release your grip, things suddenly begin to align effortlessly? You've experienced this paradox before. Those moments when you stop forcing something and then, as if by magic, everything clicks into place. Could your current frustration actually stem from your insistence on forcing outcomes rather than from genuinely being lost or confused? What if the obstacles you're facing right now aren't signs that you've veered off course, but signals from life itself telling you, wait, you're rushing something that's simply not ready yet? Perhaps these delays, setbacks, and challenges aren't punishments, but gentle reminders that you're moving faster than the natural rhythm of your life allows. Carl Jung once said, "Life follows its own rhythm. Forcing things prematurely only creates greater resistance." Reflect carefully on this. Could your impatience, your intense desire to control outcomes, actually be the main obstacle standing between you and your goals? Take a moment to honestly consider, what if the real answer isn't to push harder, but to pause, to breathe, to let go, and trust that when the timing is truly right, what you deeply desire will naturally and effortlessly fall into place? Perhaps your sense of feeling lost is actually life's invitation for you to slow down and trust its process. When you try desperately to force an outcome, you're actually creating the very resistance you're fighting against. Your urgency, anxiety, and need to control the timing don't help. They push away precisely what you're working so hard to achieve. Consider how often you've experienced this firsthand. The harder you grip something, the quicker it slips through your fingers. Your desperation isn't driving you forward, it's keeping you stuck. Take Emily's story. At her job, she was desperate for a promotion. She worked harder than everyone else, stayed later, and constantly worried about outcomes. Yet, despite her relentless efforts, she found herself consistently overlooked. The more she chased recognition, the further away it seemed. Eventually, exhausted from forcing results, Emily finally let go. She stopped chasing and simply started enjoying her work without expectations. Remarkably, it was precisely at that point, the moment she genuinely didn't need the promotion, that it effortlessly appeared. Her manager finally noticed her natural qualities, and the promotion came without any forced effort. Emily realized clearly that trying to force outcomes is like gripping sand. The tighter you hold it, the faster it slips away. Reflect honestly on your own experience. How often do your desperate attempts to control outcomes actually push away the very things you desire most? What if the uncertainty you're feeling right now isn't a sign you're lost or failing, but simply life's way of preparing you for something better ahead? These moments of pause, doubt, or confusion aren't meaningless delays. They're vital periods of growth, preparation, and clarity. Life has its rhythm. Sometimes you must wait in uncertainty, like seeds quietly growing beneath the soil, unseen but steadily preparing to bloom. If you prematurely dig them up to check progress, you disturb the natural process. Trusting the waiting period might be precisely what leads to clarity and growth. Consider John's situation. He applied desperately for jobs, constantly frustrated by rejection. Months passed with nothing but silence and setbacks. Frustration built until John decided to pause, step back, and focus inward. He stopped forcing outcomes and embraced the uncertainty. It wasn't immediate, but soon, an unexpected and much better career path emerged effortlessly, exactly when he was genuinely ready to embrace it. Life often works this way. The seeds you plant simply require time to germinate. What if the delays you're experiencing now are exactly the preparation you need for what's coming next? There's a powerful psychological principle here. The less desperately you chase something, the more naturally it comes toward you. Ironically, your emotional independence becomes your greatest magnet. When you release your frantic grip on outcomes, you communicate a quiet self-assurance that others naturally find attractive. This principle works clearly in personal relationships, career opportunities, and personal goals. It's counterintuitive, yet powerful. Think about Sophia's story. She attended social events eager to impress and gain acceptance, always carefully monitoring her words and behaviors. But the more she performed, the less attention she received. People sensed her desperation, making them instinctively withdraw. Eventually, Sophia decided to stop performing. She no longer tried so hard to impress. Instead, she simply enjoyed herself, spoke naturally, and interacted authentically without expectation. Surprisingly, as soon as she relaxed, everyone began seeking her presence. Her genuine indifference had become magnetic. Needing approval is like chasing your shadow. The more desperately you run after it, the further it moves away. But the moment you stand still, it remains steadily by your side. Carl Jung talked about the concept of the shadow, those hidden insecurities and fears within you, aspects you may unintentionally project when you desperately seek approval. Could your persistent attempts to control outcomes reveal these deeper insecurities, shadow aspects you've been unwilling to confront clearly? Have you ever noticed how opportunities or people seem to come to you precisely when you stop trying to control every detail? Ultimately, true freedom arises when you align yourself with life's natural rhythm, rather than forcing outcomes. Real power and genuine fulfillment emerge clearly when you no longer base your worth or success on external validation, but rather on internal clarity. The moment you stop forcing outcomes is the moment life begins flowing effortlessly toward what's truly meant for you. David's journey illustrates this perfectly. He spent years desperately pushing for success, yet constantly felt blocked. The more urgently he tried to force progress, the more stuck he became. Exhausted, David eventually chose to slow down and embrace uncertainty rather than force clarity. He began to trust life's natural timing, allowing himself space to grow naturally. Soon enough, opportunities, success, and fulfillment arrived effortlessly, exactly when he was genuinely ready. Aligning yourself with life's natural rhythm is like flowing gently with a river. Resistance dissolves, clarity emerges, and you naturally arrive exactly where you're meant to be. Carl Jung described this natural alignment as individuation, the psychological journey toward becoming your authentic self, beyond external pressures and expectations. Maybe your persistent impatience, your desperation to control outcomes, has been blocking your true journey toward individuation. Perhaps the delays, setbacks, and confusion you've experienced were essential, gently guiding you toward the authentic self you're meant to become. Take a moment now to honestly reflect. Who might you become if you stopped rushing life's timeline and instead trusted the natural unfolding of your path? What hidden potential might you finally uncover if you released your relentless need to force outcomes and instead allowed life to lead you clearly, effortlessly, and naturally? Your life isn't something you must constantly micromanage or force. It's something to gently guide and align with. The resistance you feel when forcing outcomes isn't punishment. It's life's gentle reminder that you're not quite ready yet. It's life's subtle invitation to pause, reflect, and grow. When you finally release your grip on outcomes, you become genuinely magnetic. Life no longer evades you, it flows effortlessly toward you. So, consider carefully. Are you ready to stop forcing what's not yet ready? Can you trust life's timing, even in moments of uncertainty? Could the confusion and obstacles you've encountered be exactly what you need to slow down, reflect, and clearly prepare yourself for what's truly meant to be yours? Maybe the secret you're seeking isn't found in doing more, but in doing less, not forcing outcomes, but allowing them to naturally appear exactly when you're genuinely ready to receive them. You're not lost, you're just forcing something that's not ready yet. The harder you push, the further your goals move out of reach. Have you noticed how clearly this plays out in your own life? The more desperately you chase outcomes, the more elusive they become. It's like chasing your own shadow. The faster you run, the quicker it slips away. Yet, if you simply stand still, your shadow remains quietly at your side. This simple yet powerful image holds profound psychological truth. Clarity and direction appear effortlessly only when you finally stop trying so hard to force them into existence. Consider this deeply. Your constant striving, forcing, and struggling might not be signs of strength, but clear indications you're resisting life's natural rhythm. Your insistence on immediate results might be the very thing blocking the clarity and peace you're seeking. It's not that you're incapable, confused, or lost. It's that you're prematurely rushing something that's still taking shape. The anxiety you feel, the resistance you encounter, the frustration that builds, all these emotions aren't punishment, they're signals. Signals that you're trying to control outcomes that simply aren't ready yet. Pause for a moment and genuinely ask yourself, what would your life look like if you stopped forcing outcomes and truly allowed them to unfold naturally? Imagine clearly a life where you're no longer consumed by the exhausting need to control every outcome. Imagine waking up without that tightness in your chest, without that lingering sense of urgency that says, I must force this to happen right now. Picture the relief, freedom, and clarity you might feel if you simply allowed yourself to align naturally with life's pace. The truth you're being called to recognize is this: life's greatest rewards rarely arrive through frantic pursuit. They manifest clearly, quietly, and effortlessly when you're calm enough, patient enough, and trusting enough to receive them. You've probably experienced moments like this before, those times when you finally stopped worrying and pushing, and things fell into place perfectly, seemingly without effort. That wasn't coincidence. That was the natural rhythm of life revealing itself clearly, the moment you stopped resisting. But what keeps you from trusting this rhythm? Maybe it's the fear of uncertainty, the fear of losing control, or perhaps the quiet fear that if you don't force outcomes, they might never arrive. Yet, consider what forcing has genuinely brought you: frustration, exhaustion, anxiety, and missed opportunities. When you're desperate, you repel. When you're relaxed, confident, and clear, you attract. It's one of life's simplest yet most powerful paradoxes. Your desperate attempts to force outcomes have likely blinded you to opportunities that were quietly presenting themselves all along. While you chased shadows, the answers you needed waited patiently for your stillness. Your frantic movement created noise, drowning out the quiet clarity of your intuition. When you stop chasing, when you become genuinely still, you finally allow life to clearly communicate its messages. That silence you fear isn't empty, it's filled with insight, guidance, and clarity, all of which have patiently awaited your quiet attention. Imagine clearly a scenario where you no longer rush decisions, relationships, or outcomes. Imagine feeling comfortable in uncertainty, no longer panicking when life doesn't immediately provide the answers you desire. How would that clarity and peace feel to you? Could it be that what you've labeled as confusion or being stuck is actually life's gentle request that you slow down and listen? Carl Jung deeply understood this psychological principle. He emphasized that forcing things prematurely creates greater resistance. Life operates according to its own timing, its own perfect rhythm. Your impatience doesn't speed things up. It delays clarity and makes the process more difficult. What if right now you're exactly where you need to be, even if it doesn't feel that way? What if your struggles and frustrations are not problems to be solved, but crucial preparation for something meaningful that's coming? This insight is the core awakening. You're not lost, confused, or failing. You're simply forcing something that's not ready yet. Life's greatest breakthroughs often arrive clearly and effortlessly when you no longer demand them, when you trust that clarity, solutions, and outcomes appear naturally when the time is right. So now, genuinely reflect. What if your entire approach shifted? What if instead of forcing outcomes, you began aligning yourself with life's natural flow? Who might you become if you trusted your journey, embraced uncertainty, and stopped resisting life's unfolding? Consider deeply how much freer, clearer, and more fulfilled your life might become if you finally let go of needing constant control. Your shadow doesn't vanish because you chase it harder. Outcomes don't become clearer when you force them. Real transformation occurs precisely when you stand still, let go of your desperation, and trust life's natural timing. When you do this, what you've desperately chased for so long naturally finds its way toward you. So ask yourself clearly, honestly, and courageously right now. Who would you become if you finally stopped forcing outcomes and genuinely allowed them to unfold naturally? The clarity, peace, and freedom you're seeking are not achieved by force. They're revealed clearly and effortlessly when you finally stop chasing your shadow and allow life's natural rhythm to guide you. True fulfillment and clarity come precisely when you align yourself with life's natural flow, no longer forcing what's not ready. You've spent so long believing that control is the only way to achieve your dreams. But what if your constant effort to force clarity has been the very thing blocking it? Consider deeply, what might you discover about yourself if, instead of relentlessly pushing for immediate answers, you allowed life to naturally reveal its rhythm? Imagine clearly the relief, the peace, the freedom you might experience if you genuinely trusted the unfolding process. Instead of constantly questioning, rushing, or worrying, what if you began approaching your journey with curiosity, patience, and openness? Who might you become if you embraced uncertainty as an essential part of growth, rather than a problem to be solved? Right now, I invite you to take a meaningful step toward clarity and authenticity. In the comments below, share openly one thing you've been forcing in your life, something you're finally ready to release. Your honesty in acknowledging this can inspire others to start their own journey toward freedom and peace. It's a simple yet powerful act of courage, one that could profoundly impact not only your path, but also those around you. Remember, the moment you stop forcing outcomes, your true path will effortlessly begin to unfold. Life knows exactly when you're ready for what's next. Trusting this natural timing, rather than fighting it, might just be the most transformative decision you ever make.